welcome to another episode of It's Tea Time. I'm Jonathan Sellers, and alongside us today is Sandy Atkins. It's not John Hartwell this week. It's Sandy Atkins, our Associate Director of Athletics, and thank you for being here this week.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here.
Filling in for John, who's out at the AD's meeting out in Dallas. Have you heard anything from him? Got any news from him?
I hadn't heard any news. I have talked to him on a couple of occasions, but I know he's traveling back tonight, and I'm sure we'll get a full report when he gets back.
Okay, sounds good. Well, let's go ahead and start reviewing. A lot to go over. Maybe not what we wanted to hear out of Starkville with the football team and the loss to Mississippi State.
Yeah, you know, it's going into last week, had some high expectations, some optimism. Last time we were in Starkville coming out with a win, and certainly last year, having an opportunity to, possibly win a game at home, right, depending on one call there at the end. But had some high expectations, but didn't quite turn out like we wanted to. Did see, a few positive things, but our Achilles heel all year has been the turnover so far this year. So hopefully we can get that turned around. But we are. I think it's more important to look forward, and our biggest test is the next one, and trying to focus on that.
Well, and the next one is going to be Duke, a game up at Durham, North Carolina. Duke, not necessarily known for their football team, but they've got a great coach up there, some skilled athletes, and I know Coach Blakeney says it's going to be another tough one.
Right. Duke is, they've given up a lot of points this year, but they've also put up a lot of points too, having lost to Pittsburgh last week, 58-55. So, it's something that we feel like we'll be able to put some points up, and hopefully we can hold them to fewer points, obviously.
And that game is going to be at what time?
It's a 2 o'clock kickoff time, Central Time, and it'll be on ESPN3, which continues our string of televised games.
So if you can't make it to Durham, you can always watch it here online.
Absolutely.
Now we'll go ahead and preview again homecoming, which is earlier this year. It's the following weekend, October 5th, against USA. That's a big game as well.
Oh, that's a huge game, and already, you can feel the momentum around the department. As you talk to people, a lot of excitement blowing around that game. Obviously, the first matchup at Troy for a team that's, going to be a good rivalry. It is a 12 o'clock kickoff time. A couple of things that it's going to back up some things that we have planned for homecoming. We certainly don't think it's going to hinder the crowd. I expect it to be at full capacity, and South's going to bring some fans with them. So we're definitely going to want to have all of our fan base and full detail with us as well.
And something else we learned was the parade. The time has changed for it. It's normally a 10 o'clock parade, but it's a little earlier this year as well.
That's correct. One time before, we played a 12 o'clock game on homecoming. The city's been great working with us. The parade's going to be backed up to 9 o'clock. The Sound of the South will start the parade off, and we'll be able to get back for Trojan Walk, which will be 9:45. So, everybody's having to improvise a little bit, and we appreciate that. But that's just everybody trying to pitch in and help out. So we are everything's going to be good to go for that.
All right, now let's go ahead and look at some other sports, starting with soccer. Soccer had a big win last Friday, the 100th win of the program.
Yeah, the soccer program is our youngest program. They had a very good marquee win against Gardner-Webb, 3-1. It was also Coach Bentley's 50th career win as well. He's been our soccer coach for going in his 6th year, and so it's a great mark with the soccer program. But for a young team, as well as we finished up non-conference this past weekend, beating Gardner-Webb on Friday for that marquee win, and looking forward to some conference matches, and that's why we play non-conference to prepare ourselves to move into the conference.
Exactly. A lot
schedule.
Of the coaches had been saying that they're kind of preseason going into the conference, and that's what they really got to concentrate on. And they're going to be starting off their conference schedule against one of the newer teams in the Sun Belt, Texas State.
Right. That is that's with all the conference realignment that's going on, or that had gone on in the past. We've got 3 new teams this year, and we'll be adding 2 more next year. So Texas State UT Arlington, and Georgia State. So it's going to be fun. Sometimes you get in that same rut of playing the same teams, going to the same places, and staying in the same hotels. So we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to some creating some new rivalries, and keeping that competition going in the Sun Belt. But very important to try to get that first conference win under your belt. In the sports of soccer and volleyball, not all teams go to the conference tournament. So it's your first hurdle is to make the conference tournament, and obviously compete for that championship.
Well, and just getting off track a little bit here, talking about those new opponents, for someone like you, a behind-the-scenes person, is it different for you having to get to learn all these new schools and their locations and the people that work there and all those different variables?
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit different. I wouldn't say difficult. Like I said, it's a little fun getting to meet new people and getting to go to new stadiums, and also learning new ways that they might be doing something that we can get some of their ideas. But the competition's fun, and then like I said, getting to experience those new places. And sometimes for the students and the student athletes, it is fun to experience new places. And obviously Texas State, which I've never been to, but do plan on visiting out there at San Marcos, and so it's a good piece away, but we look forward to visiting out there.
Well, and the volleyball team, they'll be playing a very familiar foe this week, and they'll also be at home starting their conference schedule against Western Kentucky. Not an easy one.
Right. No, Western is has been the king of the Sun Belt in volleyball. Them in Middle Tennessee, and then obviously Middle leaving the conference. But they have been consistently at the top of the league. But Coach Kirkpatrick has scheduled a tremendously competitive non-conference schedule. So even this past weekend, playing in the Clemson tournament, and they played Clemson and Alabama. And although they didn't win the matches, they took games off both Clemson and Alabama. So in that regard, it's good that he has scheduled so strongly in his non-conference, because coming out of the gate to get Western Kentucky is a formidable match.
Well, and this is one you'd like to have the fans come out for. They're a top 25 team, so having as many fans there as possible, being loud and trying to get in their heads a little bit would be good.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. And also we are having a special announcement that'll be between the second and third matches on Friday night. Will be the student government will be announcing the homecoming court.
Okay.
So another reason why students need to come out to the match.
So if you're interested in finding out who that is, then you need to be there.
Absolutely.
All right, and some other things going on with the volleyball team is they're going to be hosting the conference tournament, which is going to be good not only for them but for the university as well.
Absolutely. We have this will be our first time to host a volleyball tournament. Couldn't come at a better time. It gives us an opportunity to showcase Trojan Arena. Right. The top 8 schools will come to the conference tournament, and we were preseason picked second in the conference, so we fully expect to be there and be competing for that top spot, and be good to have a little home field advantage, if you will. But that's November the 21st through the 23rd, so we're looking forward to that.
And cross country will also be hosting the conference meet as well.
Yes, they are. We we had never hosted a cross-country match or cross-country Sun Belt Conference tournament. We'll be doing that the first weekend in November. Another opportunity to, that race will begin and end in the new practice intramural fields, and we'll go across the road and run through the new golf course, so which will provide a beautiful scenery for that.
And speaking of golf, their season is underway as we speak. They're opening their fall tournament, as well as tennis has opened things up as well. So just a lot of things going underway right now.
Sometimes we don't think about those sports that don't compete in their championship segment in the fall, but they play a fall tournament and or fall competitions. And tennis and golf got off both this weekend and did very well, respectively. Something that we've been able to do with both the golf and the tennis programs. We had the opportunity this year to separate the men's and the women's in both golf and tennis. In the past, last year and before, men's and women's had been under the same umbrella. Right. So this year give us the opportunity to, Matt Terry had been the golf coach, and he'll be the head men's coach. We've hired Bart Barnes to be the head women's coach, who is an assistant. So, those guys will be able to focus independently on the Matt with the men and Bart with the women. The same thing with tennis. Right. Scott Kidd is our head men's tennis coach, and we elevated Raya El Sisi, our assistant, to our head women's tennis coach.
She should be very familiar to Troy fans that had a good career here, and so it's good to have her back on the sideline or on the court. Helping out the Trojans.
Absolutely, and Raya was my favorite player, and I tell her this all the time, my favorite tennis player to watch, because she played with so much passion, and she left everything out on the court. But she, they had a very good weekend. They went 6-0 in their opening tournament, so we are definitely expecting good things from women's tennis.
All right, now time for a couple little updates. Hall of Fame, it's going to be the third ceremony this year. Date has been moved again this time. It's going to be held in March, but you're already looking for the applications, some nominees for the Hall of Fame candidates.
Correct. We've had 2 just tremendously successful Hall of Fame banquets. We'll be moving into the third one this year. We have set that date for March the 29th. We are trying to set that date corresponded with the T-Day game, and if there's other events going on campus to make that a good Troy day. We are taking nominations right now. That window will close here in a couple weeks. So, if there's it's a very simple process. You just go to the website, the TroyTrojans.com website, and click on Hall of Fame. It's a one-page questionnaire. So if the more nominations that are out there, the better opportunity that the board of directors of the Hall of Fame have to choose some worthy candidates.
Oh, and there's plenty of good candidates out there, and it doesn't have to be just for an athlete. It could be coaches. I know it could be administrators as well, and I mean, there's all kinds of different nominees.
It really could be anybody. You tend to think student athlete,
right,
but definitely coaches, and obviously, we've had some great coaches go in. But anybody that's had an influence on the program, if it's a donor or a community person or a fan, or if they've had great influence on the program. Sometimes I think we live in the moment and get caught up in the here and now. So sometimes we need help trying to identify those maybe from years past. Right. So we welcome any nominations.
All right, and one more update: the TAP program, the Trojan Affinity program. It's one that's been started this year. We got a kind of a lesson in it from John earlier in the year, but you got an update on how that's going.
Oh yeah, that program is something that when John Hartwell became the new athletic director, I think it was day 2, and he said, we've got to get the students involved, and we've got to do something for the students. So it's a program we've started this year. We've had 9 events so far. Over 2,500 students have come through the program. We've out of the 22 possible points, it's only been a month, so
right,
it's we got. I think there's we have over 75 events that'll be taking place. So we're just at event number 9. Out of the 22 possible points, our top individual has 18 points already. So the first hurdle is 25 points, where you can you get a visor and upwards to shirts, visors, polos, lunch with the athletic director. Etc.
And there is a long way to go with this. It doesn't just end in the fall. It's going to be with softball, basketball, baseball, all those events going in the spring as well.
It's cumulative, but you got to start now if you want to get those points. The top point getter would be looking to try to, or we are going to give them a tuition for the semester. So it's a nice reward for student.
So get on it now if you can. So, well, thank you for joining us here today.
Sure.
It's good to have you as our fill-in this week. And
absolutely.
Good luck on everything coming up this week.
Thank you.
All right, and stay tuned for more on It's Tea Time.
Troy has given to me so much more than I ever anticipated, and it creates that desire to keep doing something better. There's a perfect opportunity to get involved. Troy has many organizations here on campus that just give you the opportunity to find your niche here, to find your home, to find your passion.
On campus or online, Troy offers you the hands-on experience you need to pursue an exciting career in communications and journalism. Troy University. It's all you need to know.
My name is Liz. I study broadcast journalism at Troy, and I am a Troy Trojan.
Welcome back to It's Tea Time, and now to talk a little bit of soccer is the head coach, Chris Bentley. Coach, thanks for being here this week.
Thanks for having me.
Now, let's go ahead and talk about last week's games. A historic win for the program on Friday with the win over Gardner-Webb. Just can you go into that one for us?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The program won their 100th win overall, which was pretty neat. It's a long time coming, I think, and it was cool to see that the girls that I've had the chance to coach have contributed that pretty, substantially. It was just a neat experience, I think. But on top of that, I think to go out and have a game at home and from our home fans, we had a great turnout that game too. The fans were really into it. That's probably one of my most favorite fan atmospheres of a game as well. So it was just cool. It was all the way around a fun experience.
Also, you kind of overlooked it, but it was a historic win for you as well, the 50th for yourself. It's got to be kind of special too.
It's cool. It just makes me think of all the awesome players that I've had the chance to coach. I mean, we've been blessed with good players. I think that's a sign of having the right support in a staff as well. Claire's been with me the whole time, and we were able to look back. We kind of joke, Claire's got a hat. I think that's about as old as that is too. It's been about five seasons and a little bit. So, just to be able to do that and laugh about it a little bit was cool. But on top of that, I think having the opportunity to coach such amazing young women along the way that have contributed towards that, just on and off the field too. It was just a neat experience.
Well, then you had to go on the road Sunday to Kennesaw. A tough loss there. Can you talk about that one?
Yeah, we went through and we did a pro zone analysis on the game, actually. It was an interesting game. We had the same amount of penalty entries, same amount of final third entries. They had a couple more shots than us, but roughly the same amount of shots on goal. They just finished. They were a little bit more clinical on their shots, and we weren't. It's tough. When you play a game like that and it's back and forth the way it was, I think it was good between two good opponents. We just didn't come out on the winning end on that day. I think on a different day it's a different situation too. So I think it was a great learning experience for our girls going into conference, and they were very athletic. Threw a couple different things at us that we hadn't seen yet. So I think it was really good preparation again moving forward in a conference. Didn't get on the winning end, but felt that we did compete and just were unlucky in a couple scenarios, a couple quick errors on our part, and it was in the run of play. Generally speaking, we haven't conceded during the run of play, and this time through we did. So, it was probably good that it happened now. So we're okay with that.
Well, and now, as you said, you start conference this week, and you get Friday off, so no Friday, Sunday this week, just Sunday, but it's against a new Sun Belt opponent.
Right, yeah. Texas State's going to be a challenge for all of us, I think, in the conference. I think they're going to be a good team. They're very athletic, great pool of talent coming from Texas. So we're looking at this as being a pretty big game, to be honest with you. We've got to go into it and be ready for it. I think it's great that we have the extra couple days of preparation this week that allowed us actually to give the girls an extra day off, which is much needed when it comes to soccer season. It's a sprint. Not a marathon, unfortunately. So you've got to crank them out, and when you get a chance to get a day off in there, it's a special thing. So we give them an extra day off to get their legs back underneath, and we'll get back running tomorrow, do some video analysis, do some scouting for Texas State, and we'll just move forward this week.
Now, have you done any scouting at Texas State yet?
We've not gotten, I've have just previous results and stuff like that, and I've got a good idea of talking with other coaches what to expect, but we'll be doing video analysis here coming in the next couple of days and getting a look at them specifically from my point of view. Okay. We've got a good impression from other teams and what they've seen, but it's always good with our conference using video software exchange program that they use called Dragonfly. It gives us a chance to really look at them ourselves and not just take someone else's word for it.
And it'll be another home game, so hoping for another big home crowd?
Definitely, I hope so. I know ATO is a huge part of that. As an example, they did a great thing for Project 19 that Friday, hosted a band there and had admission, and everyone came in and paid, and they're donating towards Project 19, which is great. But they were awesome, and then the baseball team was there too. So I think the girls did a good job recruiting on the day as well, but I mean, they were awesome. It was cool to see.
All right, Coach Will, good luck this weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned for more of It's Tea Time.
We graduate passionate people who are excited about their degree and about their profession. Hospitals, facilities, they want Troy graduates. From undergraduate to nurse practitioners, Troy nurses are sought out.
Troy offers you an extraordinary education and a degree sought after by top employers. Troy University. It's all you need to know.
I'm Kelly. I'm a nurse practitioner. I have my doctorate from Troy, and I'm a Troy Trojan.
Welcome back to It's Tea Time, and with us this week we have a new coach to Troy, but not an unfamiliar face, as Rawia El Sisi is back here at the university now as the women's head tennis coach. So it's good to have you back here. And,
Thank you.
And glad to see you.
Glad to see you too.
But let's get started talking about your fall season. It got underway last week at the Big Easy Classic down in New Orleans. How did your team perform down there?
Well, it's the beginning of the season. We have new teams. We only have 7 players this semester, which we usually have a full of 8 players. 3 new coming to transfer, and one of them is a freshman. Overall performances, usually in a start of a tournament in the fall, we have new ones coming. We're doing new team combination in doubles and single. We only played 6 singles and 3 doubles, trying new doubles. One of our best performers, one of the flight, a girl made it all the way to the finals, performed very good. But unfortunately, we had to take her to the hospital on the Sunday. She had a full body cramp, so she had to not to come to finish the competition. We're looking for doubles team combinations. We have one of our strongest team had performed pretty strong, but unfortunately I wasn't there to watch their match against ULM. We have strong teams played in the conference, ULM, ULL, along with UNO, Southern Miss. We also have Nova University. So it was a good start tournament, average tournament for the girls to see where the level at in both in singles and doubles. Along with the men's side actually had a very excellent performance. Okay. They won the doubles tournament, and they only traveled with 4 teams, okay. 4 players, and 3 singles. They made it to the quarterfinals, 2 of them. One of them quarterfinals and 2 to the semifinals. It's just in the beginning of the season, which makes it a little bit tougher in the team, is a new combination, especially transfer and a freshman, and the performance would not. It wasn't a level I was kind of expected, because we just had a few injuries that kind of affected our doubles. Right. 2 doubles team had 2 injuries, and both of them, which after they're winning the first round, they ran out the second day, so it was pretty tough. But that's not an excuse, but which help us to see where the level at with the team and prepare us for the next tournament in Clemson.
So is that really what the fall is about, is trying to kind of figure out what's going to work and really get things ready for the spring?
Yes, exactly, especially when you have transferred, you have a new player coming. We have prepared a few weeks ago when we started our practice. We're only like 3 weeks before that tournament, less than 3 weeks. And first tournament's always been the toughest tournament. You see, we're unlucky, some injuries, some affect us. But it's always a preparation. It doesn't, it just brings the team together. They see how it is in college tennis, and we still have 2 more tournaments going. That's in 2 weeks playing in Clemson, and we're going to play regionals, which are pretty tough, strong 2 tournaments. Which now we have our double combinations, solid ones. One of our players that have transferred, she was, her name is Sherry Lee, and she's from China, and she transferred in Division II, BYU Hawaii. She was finished number 1 in doubles in the nation, okay. And finished number 5 in singles in the nation. It's pretty strong.
That's very good. So good to have her here at Troy. So what exactly are you going to be looking for in the next 2 weeks of practice going into Clemson?
Well, first of all, there's just one player is out for 2 weeks, so I have to take care of some girls to rest them from injury. We keep practice. Probably keep practice the same. We practice our 20 hours, including our fitness. But once we get closer to traveling day, which we're gonna leave on next Thursday, just keep everything the same. Okay, same schedule I have, and we just go in a tournament and they play individual. They play for their single ranking, so okay. It doesn't count for team competition or dual matches. Right. So it helps them for the coming one to get used to hard court, to get used to college tennis. I mean, because we have players that comes from different countries from all over the world and not used to hard court. So it's always a preparation for them.
Well, we're out of time, but
Yes,
thank you for joining us, and good luck on the upcoming tournament, and glad to have you back.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned for some volleyball here on It's Tea Time. Welcome back to It's Tea Time, and for our final look at Trojan Fall Sports, we're going to take a look at the volleyball team with head coach Sonia Kirkpatrick. Coach, you went up to Clemson last weekend, and 3 tough losses. Can you just kind of give us a review of that tournament for you?
It was a really good tournament. We played Delaware Friday night, a team that has been to the national tournament, I think, 4 of the last 6 years, and is one of the top teams in that section of the country. Lost to them in 5, had an opportunity to win in 3. Unfortunately, some of our players didn't make the plays that they typically do, and we ended up losing in a tough 5-setter. Recovered for the next day, made a couple changes in our lineup. Played Clemson, and first 2 games they were a little apprehensive, did not play anywhere close to what we have. Made an adjustment in between games 2 and 3, and won the 3rd game very convincingly, and had an opportunity to win the 4th, to go to a 5th, but losing 26-24 to Clemson on their home floor is a pretty. It was a good match, and I was really proud of the way that we made those adjustments and came out and battled. Played Alabama about 2 hours later, really dominated the first set. We're up late in the second, had to come back a little bit, lost 26-24, lost the 3rd game, and then lost the 4th game 25-23. So it comes down to making one more play, and ifs and buts. But if we make one more play in a lot of our games during our matches, we're probably 9-5 at worst rather than 5-9.
Well, then this weekend, it doesn't get much easier for you. You're playing one of the top teams in the country in Western Kentucky to open up the conference schedule. You've got them at home, fortunately for you, so you're looking forward to that matchup.
Very much so. I mean, we want to put ourselves against the best teams. Right. That's why I scheduled our out-of-conference scheduling the way it is, because if we want to be the best, we've got to be able to compete and beat the best. Right. Western Kentucky's the best in the Sun Belt. And it lets us know where we stand early in the conference season to see how we can compete against them and how we do things. And even though we've taken some losses along the way, I think it's really started to prepare us for the Sun Belt play.
And how important is it to have a home court advantage, to have the students, the fans out there in full force on Friday night?
It would be wonderful. We love playing in the arena. Can't wait to show it off to all of our Sun Belt opponents. And playing at home is always a good thing, but in my opinion, you've got to be able to win on the road. And if you can win on the road, then playing at home should take care of itself. And that's why we haven't had a lot of home matches this year. We've really tried to build our team to be able to play on the road in hostile environments.
Well, speaking of that, you've got to take a tough road trip immediately Saturday after that game against Western Kentucky up to one of probably the toughest places to travel to in Arkansas State. Talk about not only the match, but just in the kind of the, not difficulties, but just in getting up there in such a quick turnaround.
I mean, it's what everybody does, so we don't really complain about it. We're given our schedule by the conference, and we know going into it that it's going to be a little bit of a rough trip, but we get a chance to really prepare, though, on the bus. We get a chance to watch a lot of video on there of Arkansas State. We get a chance to get scouting reports. We get a chance to let our team kind of get some homework done on the bus and everything, and really start preparing for the things that we have to do to get a win on Sunday. So while it's a long trip and it'll be a quick turnaround to drive up there and then drive back the next day, it gives our team a chance to bond a little bit too in that little bit of time.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for joining us, and good luck as you open up conference play.
Well, thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate it.
All right, and stay tuned for more next week on It's Tea Time.